What is going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. It's so strange to say that, honestly. Welcome back to my channel because it's been a year since I posted on YouTube and it's been 3 years since I made any type of like sit down video, vlog, whatever. And I'm beyond freaking excited to be back. My life has changed dramatically within the last 2 or 3 years, and I am just incredibly thankful to be able to have this opportunity to be on YouTube. So I decided that I wanted to do a update and Q&A video. So welcome to the Q&A, welcome to the update, and I hope you guys stick around. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Comment what your favorite part of the video was down below, and let's get into it. Where have you been? I have been all over the place. Last time you guys heard from me, I was living in Texas at my parents' house. I'm currently in LA and actually be moving to San Diego. So that's super exciting. I move in on Friday and I'm beyond blessed. I'm moving in with one of my best friends and I'm so freaking excited. I'm now a coach for Beyond Built. I was a client when I first started off a couple years ago and stepped into a coaching role in January, and I have the most amazing freaking clients. My life is completely different. I'm a completely different person, and I competed in a bodybuilding show. I've been all over the place since last time we talked, and I'm incredibly blessed and excited to just be back. What are you working on currently? So, aside from being a coach, I'm also working on a secret project. Can't really tell you guys too much about it, but whenever it does come out, this is definitely going to be a passion project of mine, something that I've been wanting to do for a really long time. I also have a podcast called Own It with Lana. I'm going to put it in the description down below. There's new episodes every single Tuesday. I did fall off of that a little bit because life got crazy and I started making excuses, but we are back in it and we are ready to run it. Own It is also something that I do. It's basically just another place for me to talk about what I'm learning and the evolution of who I am and helping other people really own their stories and learn to love who they are in this moment versus chasing an idea of who they think they should be. How has your fitness journey changed since joining YouTube? So 3 years ago, I was just coming off of surgery. I had lost all my weight and I was really just trying to be healthy again. Recently, what I've been doing is bodybuilding. This last summer, I competed in a bodybuilding competition. I was in the transformation division for summer training in Houston with Athlete, and I fell in love with the sport. I fell in love with the competition, and my next goal is to actually compete on a wellness stage in the future. So that's currently what it looks like right now. It's mostly just about building muscle and, losing the rest of the weight. I had a lot of hormonal issues towards the end of last year, which kind of like fluctuated my weight, but we're getting back on track. I work really close with my coaches, Chad and Far. I have a really unique experience of just being able to pick their brains about literally anything. So the goal right now is to put on some more mass, but also still cut some fat. And I'm super excited about that. What is it like being a coach? Gosh. Being a coach was something that I honestly never thought that I was going to actually do. It's something that I've always talked about doing, something that I've always wanted to do. I never thought that I was enough to actually do it, though. I remember talking to Chad and Far about it right when I joined Beyond Built as a client, and I was just so passionate about being able to help people and facilitating certain conversations and helping people with their form and getting information just about, who they are as people and like helping them. And became super passionate about it for myself too. And the opportunity started to come up and I was getting presented with a couple things and I just remember self-sabotaging like massively. And I had a couple people who were really close friends of mine. They sat me down. They were like, dude, like you're the only one that can't see that you would be an amazing coach. You just need to get out of your own head. And so I did. I got out of my own head and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to full send it. And became a coach in January with Beyond Built, and it has hands down been the best decision that I've ever made for myself. So unique, and I get the chance to help different versions of myself. And what I mean by that is your life is a mirror, right? So all the people that you interact with at some level remind you of who you are, whether it's you as a child or whatever, right? And I find that a lot of my clients that I work with and I have the honor of, I find that a lot of the clients that I have an honor of working with, they deal with a lot of the same struggles and challenges that I've dealt with and sometimes still deal with. And so it's really cool because at some level I'm talking to an older version of myself and I'm getting to pour my experience into someone. and I'm getting to actually use the things that I really hated about myself or I was really, really challenged with, and I'm able to use that for good and help people go, hey, I'm not alone. And just being a coach has just changed my perspective on life in general, and it's given me a new drive and it's giving me a new like passion that I didn't ever really think that I was capable of unlocking. Who is someone that you look up to and admire to be like? So I've actually had this conversation a lot recently when it comes to female role models. I feel like in this moment right now, I'm very challenged when it comes to having like top tier, higher level women that I look up to in the space that I'm in. Now, women that I love looking up to are like Brene Brown, Oprah. They're absolutely amazing. And I love who they are as women. And then men that I look up to are like Tony Robbins, Ed Milet. I really enjoy Andy Frisella. He's a little harsh for me, but I really enjoy him. I feel like I'm so privileged to be surrounded by people who operate at such a high level that I'm constantly inspired by people who I'm around. So my friends, my family, they all inspire me to want to be better and show me that, you know, growing looks different for everybody and you can grow in a lot of different ways and success looks different to everybody. And there's no one person that I want to be like or that I want to follow in their footsteps. I feel like we were all put here to be exactly who we're supposed to be. And so if I go into it with a mindset of I want to be exactly like Tony Robbins, but the female version, or I want to be like Brene Brown of the fitness space, it's not doing myself a service because I was meant to be Lana. I wasn't meant to be Brene. I wasn't meant to be Tony. I wasn't meant to be any of my friends. I was meant to be exactly who I am with my experiences. And I think taking what you can from other people, learning from their experiences, and then also cultivating your own is super important. And I feel like that's the most important thing, is having people to look up to, but not people that you want to become. Biggest lesson of last year. Man, last year was something else. So to give you a little recap, last year I moved from Texas to California, moved to LA. I did it to start a business. I started a business with Far and Mike. It was called Cultured Vibes. It was my passion project of the season. It was something that I really, really loved doing. I was the creative. I got to do all the media strategy, and it was my favorite thing ever. And I moved out here doing that, and it didn't necessarily work out. We ended up parting ways in December, and we dissolved the company. And I feel like the whole experience of what Cultured Vibes was is the fact that it showed me what was possible. And I feel like that was the biggest lesson for me, is what I'm actually capable of and what is possible when you truly want something and you're passionate and you're willing to work for it. Because when I started in with Cultured Vibes, I didn't know jack shit about literally anything that came to design, that came to, you know, photography, that came to editing. I didn't know anything about it. And I taught myself, and I put myself in a place to grow and to cultivate those skills. And I never thought that was possible. And then that happened, and I found this whole new passion for designing and for creating something and watching something go from a design to a sample to a photo to someone else wearing it across the world. And it was the most impeccable feeling, and I don't even know if I have the words to truly describe it. But I feel like my biggest lesson from last year was that you are so much more capable than you ever give yourself credit for. You just also have to be willing to try and fail. Like, you have to be willing to fail, because if you're not failing, then you're not growing. Like, that's what it is. If you're not failing, you're not growing and you're not learning. And I really don't even see CV as a failure. I see it as like a little bump. It was a bump in the road. And that season of life, the last year, really taught me a lot about myself. It taught me about grit, resilience, perseverance, and just really chasing after what you want and the importance of it. I feel like that was the biggest part of what last year was. What is a negative trait about yourself and something that you wish you would change? So I love this question, because if you would have asked me this a year ago, I would have been like, I have so many negative traits and blah, 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 right? Because I feel like the first thing that we can do as people is point out the negative aspects as to who we are. As I've evolved and I've grown and I've healed through a lot of things, I've realized that there are no negative traits. It's your perception of your traits. And so I was having this conversation with my mom earlier, and we were talking about my hard-headedness, because let me tell you, I am a true Taurus, and my defaults, I am super hard-headed, and I am very, very bold about a lot of things. And so as a child, I used to be hard-headed about like the really dumb things. I used to be hard-headed about like how people felt about me, or how I felt about myself in negative ways. And now I see my bullheaded, my hard-headedness as my keys to success. Right? They're the reasons why I don't give up. They're the reasons why I will always find a way. It's the reason why I continue to push through. And it's because once I have my mind made up, I'm going to make it happen. And again, it can come in a very negative trait, right? Like I can get really hard-headed about the negative feelings that I have towards myself when it comes to like body dysmorphia tendencies, or bad self-love days, or negative thoughts that I might have. Like I can be bullheaded about that. I also don't think that there's anything that I would change about any of the perceived negative. I feel like those negatives, those things that we see as our weaknesses, I've said this for the last year and I truly believe it, like your weaknesses are your superpower. So when you really start to open your heart to those and see them for what they are versus this negative versus positive, it gives you a whole new chance to love yourself from a different place that you never even thought was possible. And then once you learn to love that and harness that and use that to help you progress and get to where you want to be and the person you want to become, they no longer are negatives. You just learned how to love yourself. What is a pivotal moment in your life where something happened and you were like, this is where it needs to change? Well, I feel like I've had a bunch of them, if we're being honest, because I've moved my life so many different times. I feel like recently, if I can give context into one, it would be it would be this one. It happened last week. And I was listening to Ed Milet's recent podcast about his dad. It was from the Max Out convention. And I was listening to it while I was driving, and I just got so emotional. And he was talking about the power of going one more, and I actually ended up buying his book, and that's what I'm reading right now. But during that, I realized that there were so many points in my life recently that I wasn't going one more, but I was telling myself that I was going one more. I feel like the action of doing it and the talk of doing it are two very different things. I realized that there's a lot of places that I was selling myself short, and places that I wasn't honoring who I wanted to become. And so in order to step up and become that person, I had to take a really long look at myself in the mirror and be like, you are not being the person that you say you are. That freaking hurt. Like looking at myself in the mirror and being like, you are not the person that you say you are. Like that's hard whenever you're doing it from a place of true and unconditional love, and you're wanting to be this person, and you're wanting to accomplish these things and create this life, and you're saying that you're doing all these things but you're not. It takes your integrity away. It takes the honesty and the trust away from who you are as a person, and the trust that you have with yourself, because you haven't been showing up. And I feel like after that podcast, and then I came back and read the book, I realized for me that there's a lot of things that I want to do differently. And it starts with me. That's when I decided that I wanted to get back on YouTube, and I wanted to pick up the podcast again and be a lot more vibrant and intentional about just sharing my story, and sharing the knowledge and the wisdom that I have that's been given to me over the last couple years, or things that I've uncovered within my own journey. And I feel like it's so impactful to be able to share that stuff. I think that's the most pivotal one, recently. Yeah, I think that's it. The last one is, what's next? Well, if I told you, then it wouldn't be as exciting. But I have a lot of really cool things that I'm working on. This YouTube is something that I'm going to be a lot more consistent on. I've made the promise to myself. It is within my BB80. And I will explain what BB80 is in the next video. But it's in my BB80 stuff, and I'm making it a priority. Every Thursday, there's going to be a new video up. I have the next 4 months planned out. And so if I don't post, get on my ass. Some of you have my number, just fucking get on my ass. I also have the podcast coming back, and so that's going to be absolutely amazing. I'll have one guest on every single month to just kind of talk about different things that are happening in the world, talk about our lives, what we've gone through, what we've learned, and just kind of the evolution of things. And then I have my passion project, which over the next couple months I will show you a little bit more when it comes to the background stuff without kind of revealing what it is. So much stuff. I'll give you guys a house tour or an apartment tour. And I'm just really thankful, really excited to be back, sharing more of my life with you guys, But that is all for today's video. I hope you guys liked it. Make sure you give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I love you. I adore you. I hope you have the best freaking week of your life, and I will talk to you real soon. Bye. I love how when I sit down to record this, someone has to be doing lawn work. It's impeccable timing, I tell you. Absolutely impeccable timing. We'll try this again in just a minute.